Hi everyone, I'm Angela. Welcome and welcome back to Angela's Fashion Mix. Thank you for being here. And to those of you that are new and have subscribed in the past 2 to 3 weeks, thank you, and thank you. For those of you that have been here since the beginning, thank you. Because now my subscribership is now over 10,000. One of you reached out a couple of days ago and said, "Do you remember when you were celebrating 100 subscribers?" And that was in September. I am so super excited that you all are here. September was not that long ago at 100 subscribers. I was elated at that point. So you can only imagine how I feel today. So thank you for being here. If you are new to the channel today and you have not subscribed, go ahead and subscribe, like, and share. I do hope that you are enjoying the content and will continue to do so. Typically, when I get a fair amount of questions about a certain thing, I will make a comment about it. And a couple of those things I will mention today. And I'll start with my hair. And I get a few comments about my hair and my makeup. I do have a hairstylist that I visit on a somewhat irregular basis. I maintain it in between. I don't do anything special with my hair. I may bounce between a couple of different hairstyles, but nothing really drastic. And with regard to makeup, I don't have a makeup routine. I do moisturize, but I typically wear a lip every day. Um, and some days I will add a foundation, and some days I might add mascara to that. It really depends on what I'm doing. Most days I'm barefaced except for the lip. It really depends on what I'm doing and where I'm going. So I'm sorry, I don't have anything specific to add with regard to hair or makeup. I get a fair amount of questions about the closet. I will try to remember to post the link here to the closet video that gives a full tour of the closet. But I will mention a couple of things with regard to the shoes as well as the handbags. I've had a couple of questions about those. So I wanted to talk a little bit about the shoes and why they are turned the way they are. My first preference would be to have them turned all facing out by the toe, but actually turning one out and one in expands the space a little bit. And believe it or not, I can get one additional pair on each shelf. So this is an arrangement that works with regard to the amount of shelving that I allotted for shoes, and giving me that extra little bit with this arrangement I'm very pleased with. One thing I will share as a tip, and I saw this in a store with regard to the straps on shoes that tie on the ankle. This can get a little messy just folding it on the shoe. So what I do is wrap it around the heel, and that just kind of keeps it in place. And then I tuck it here into the strap. So it's a little bit neater doing it that way, and hopefully that helps you with the storage of your straps on your tie-up shoes. Another thing I'll mention is the handbag. So one question I had with regard to my handbags being up high is how I reach them. I'm 5'7", so I don't have any issues with reaching the bag from the bottom. So when I was designing the space, I took my tallest bag and measured down to where that bag should sit, but I also accommodated bags that would have handles that did not collapse. So I just can reach for a bag and I pull it by the bottom, and it's easy enough to go back in the same way. So I typically don't have any issues with that. That's how the handbag storage goes. So Fashion Week is starting this coming week. I'm tuned into the Fashion Weeks wherever they are, and just to be in the know and to see what's going on in fashion world. So in context of Fashion Week, in context of it being Black History Month, I thought I would share some information with you with regard to how African Americans have impacted the fashion industry. I think the fashion industry is a very exciting space. In college, I thought I would be a buyer for some major brand, but that never materialized based on limitations that I incorporated for myself. So I didn't get to that point. but several people that we know about. And there's some that we have never heard of, and how those people are part of the fashion space. And I'll probably share some in a couple of upcoming videos, just an introduction and what they bring to the fashion world. I haven't memorized all of the details that I'm sharing, so I will be reading a lot of it to you, but it's short and just an introduction, kind of. There's so much information about all the people that I'm sharing, but I'm sharing what I thought were interesting parts about what they brought to the fashion space. I'm starting with Kimora Simmons because Fashion Week is coming up and because she launched her Baby Fat brand during Fashion Week in New York in 1999. Can you believe that's been 24 years ago this year? So she launched the lifestyle brand. It went global as a women's wear offshoot of the men's streetwear line. Baby Fat was created to offer consumers color collections that were authentic to the culture, mirroring the trajectory of the hip hop music and style that inspired it. Baby Fat eventually grew to cross all barriers of culture and race, reaching mass marketability and entering the lexicon of both fashion and popular culture. Baby Fat emerged into Fat Farm, Baby Fat Girls, and Fat Farm Boys. And thus, Kimora became one of the first women of color to ever preside over a stable of fashion brands. And like I said, she has fragrances, swimwear, outerwear, infant wear, accessories, all a part of her global brand. Kimora Simmons. Next, we have Ann Cole Lowe. She was born in 1898 and was the first African American to become a noted fashion designer. Lowe's designs were popular among upper class women for decades from the 20s through the 60s, and she was best known for designing the ivory silk taffeta wedding dress worn by Jacqueline Bouvier when she married John F. Kennedy in 1953. Ann Cole Lowe. Now, I've shown you in some videos my hat collection, or part of my hat collection, and this was one reason I brought this woman into the conversation. And her name is Mildred Blount. She was asked to design hats for the films Gone with the Wind and Easter Parade, as well as for the cover of the 1942 Ladies' Home Journal. Later in the 40s, she ran a hat shop in Beverly Hills with clients such as Joan Crawford, Rosalind Russell, Gloria Vanderbilt, and Marian Anderson. Notably, she was the first African American member of the Motion Pictures Costumers Union, which allowed her to work in film studios. That is Mildred Blount. Next, we have Zelda Wynn Valdez. In the early 20s, she started to work in tailoring shops of her uncle in White Plains, New York. And around the same time, she began working as a stock girl in a high end boutique. She eventually worked her way up to selling and making alterations, becoming the shop's first Black sales clerk and tailor. In 1948, she opened her own design and dressmaking studio on Broadway in what is now called Washington Heights. Valdez said that her shop was the first Black-owned business on Broadway. How interesting is that? She sold dresses to movie stars Dorothy Dandridge, opera diva Jessie Norman, and she also designed the bridal party for the 1948 wedding of Marie Ellington, also known as Maria Cole and Nat King Cole. Additional celebrities included Josephine Baker, Mae West, Ella Fitzgerald, Eartha Kitt, and Marian Anderson. And this is what I thought was interesting about Zelda. Her role in glamorizing women caught the attention of Playboy's Hugh Hefner, who commissioned Zelda to design bunny costumes for the Playboy Playmates. She created the original Playboy bunny costume, which was presented at the opening of the first Playboy Club in Chicago in 1960. It was also the first commercial uniform to be registered by the United States Patent and Trademark Office. I thought that was quite interesting. That was Zelda Wynn Valdez. This next person, I think we're all going to recognize, and we see him now on a weekly basis on the show Shark Tank, and that's Daymond John. But he's best known as the founder, president, and chief executive officer of FUBU. He's based in New York City, and John is the founder of the Shark Group. John started FUBU in his mother's house in Hollis, Queens. His mother taught him to sew and supported him by allowing her house to be taken over to grow the business. Sensing his potential, John and his mother mortgaged their house to generate startup capital. We all know the FUBU logo, and it started out being on jerseys and t-shirts and hoodies. LL Cool J wore one of his pieces in one of his commercial videos, and of course that helped in the expansion of the FUBU brand. That is Daymond John. I just wanted to share a little bit of that during Black History Month, and people we know a little bit about or people we may know nothing about. So I just wanted to share that. I will be sharing a little bit more over the next couple of weeks. I hope maybe there was something there that you didn't know about the people that we have watched over the years, or people we maybe have not ever heard about before. And that maybe one of them may be a favorite of yours and you want to just learn a little bit more. There's a wealth of information about all of these people that I presented, and this is just a brief capture of who they are, their contribution to fashion, and kind of how they impact fashions that we've seen through the years, as well as what's coming up during Fashion Week. Some of the things that we see currently were inspired by things from long ago, and that's just kind of how that fashion cycle comes and goes from season to season. And that is the nature of the fashion industry. Thank you again for being here and being a part of Angela's Fashion Mix. If you are new and you have not subscribed, please subscribe, like, and share the videos. You can also find me on Instagram and TikTok at Angela's Fashion Mix. So we'll plan to bring some Valentine looks on Wednesday, and I hope you're here for that. Everyone have a great rest of your day, and we will see you soon. Bye.